And we are finally here, guys, with a brand new release from CHAMELEON FILMS, Sparrow, one of my personal favorites from Johnnie To's lineup, and they are pumping out some great additions yet again, guys. Real phenomenal packaging, and picking some great titles from the Hong Kong library, especially from my legendary director, that is Johnnie To. I love his films, and this one is no exception. Let's dive into the unboxing if you want a bit more insight into what this edition is. So they offer two editions usually. One is the standard version, just with the film itself, with the slipcase and the booklet. And the second edition is one with the CD, which you do get exclusively with these editions, which I don't believe these are released anywhere else. I don't think they've had an independent release, but these are this and Motorway, which previously came out a while ago now, which I'll show you here. There you go, same thing again with the CD release exclusively, giving you the soundtrack from the actual film, which I think is a really unique and something quite different compared to some of the other players involved in this, from like, you know, Rika and Arrow, giving you a full soundtrack from the film, which I think is by itself worth its price of admission and worth that price tag. So definitely up to you if you want to own the CD version and to kind of experience the soundtrack independently from the film, which you can't get on Spotify. I don't believe you can get on YouTube or anywhere else. Definitely worth looking into if you're curious, guys. But here we go. Spine number 7 fantastic releases from CHAMELEON, and to show you some of the information there if you're curious about some of the details. It is a region B set, so you will need a multi-region player, but definitely worth getting it if you have one. And we do get awesome artwork as well, which I think is excellent. So slipcase, which is something they've recently introduced to the CHAMELEON films, which I think has been great. They kind of went back on their previous versions to kind of do new slipcases, and I think they're definitely adding on to that trend. Everyone loves a slipcase. Everyone loves to get something nice on their shelf, which I think is definitely a good touch for sure. There you go. Similar kind of information there, apart from some of the images at the top, which is great. And you get your double disc, CD, and the actual Blu-ray itself with the booklet, which is always a treat, diving into some of the behind the scenes and giving you some insight into behind the film itself, which is really excellent. And I believe you do get reversible artwork, if I'm not mistaken, which is awesome. So if you do want to change it up, which I actually might in this case, being the fact I have the one version with one artwork. So if I have a choice between two different artworks, with the slipcase and the original artwork, I think why not? Absolutely, why not? So let's put that back in there. Put the booklet back in. There you go. Fantastic artwork. So you get the best of both worlds in terms of the artwork for sure. So yeah, CHAMELEON Films, fantastic release. Let's dive into some of their special features. And once again, we have another fantastic release from CHAMELEON Films. Just the additions they are pumping out, and the quality is absolutely phenomenal, and they're on the same level as a Eureka or an Arrow, or definitely competing against the kind of the big players in their own space, taking their time with these individual releases and really providing films which are not easy access, very hard. Most of the films behind me have not got great releases behind them, or they're stuck on DVD, or they're stuck on a very old kind of out of print Blu-ray. They are giving the 5-star treatment, brand new packaging, exclusive artworks, and also delivering, which seems to be a really cool new trend now, which talked about in the unboxing, the CD add-ons. They did the same thing with Motorway as well. We seem to have a good relationship with the same composer between these two kind of films, which is really fantastic, which I think, why not? If you've got that agreement, it's a very unique kind of scoring, mixing kind of French kind of new wave and the old school kind of, jazzy kind of, soundtrack with the Hong Kong aesthetic. It's very unique tone and energy and what it wants to deliver, and adding on as an extra bonus disc with these editions, I think is quite unique, and definitely stands them apart from the other players who are involved in this. So I think the soundtrack alone on these editions are definitely worth the price of admission. And as always, you do get some brand new special features and some collector's edition kind of add-ons as well, with the exclusive slipcase. You do get the booklet as well, which gives you a bit more insight into the film and what was going on during the time in Johnnie To's kind of mad world. You get exclusive new audio commentary by Hong Kong a cinema expert by Frank Jen, which is always a delight. A playful departure, a new video essay talking about the actual film. These are really great. I love these. These are kind of pulled from YouTube, I believe. Basically got added onto the actual editions themselves. They feature in all these editions, and they really give a nice little extra after you're watching how important it is in the Hong Kong kind of journey as well, which is always great. You do get some newly translated and improved audio English subtitles, which is always really important. A lot of these old DVDs and really out of print Blu-rays are terrible kind of English subtitles. To get brand new translations, to get it freshed up, cleaned up a little bit, brilliant in my book. And you also get a brand new interview with the composer from 2011 talking about your soundtrack, the editing, which is always fantastic. Plus lots of restored archival features with Johnnie To, the performers, Simon Yap. You also get newly translated subtitles for those extras as well, which is also important. You get the Gallows premiere feature, you get press conference features, the making of Sparrow photo galleries, and theatrical trailer. So yeah, really jam-packed edition. Lots of archival extras improved. Brand new audio commentary, collector's edition booklet, collector's edition with the slipcase, the CD included. What's not to love? Sparrow, brilliant. A brilliant release from Chameleon Films. You've done it yet again. I'm really happy to support them, and yeah, add this to the collection for sure. Now, being the fact I've already reviewed this film on the channel from an old DVD set a long time ago, which wasn't great quality at all, was pretty questionable, but I managed to get through it. I enjoyed the film, which is why I'm extremely happy about the HD presentation on this. I decided to do a new review with my friend Alex, who is seeing it for the very first time. So I'm going in fresh on a second viewing in HD while he's reviewing for the very first time. We are both Johnnie To fans and Hong Kong enthusiasts, so I hope you enjoyed the review, guys.
我见的太多了，他年纪这么大，我应该照顾他。
And welcome to the review section of Sparrow, released in 2008, directed by Johnnie To. I am with a special guest, Alex, my good friend who's been on this journey with me since COVID. Yeah. There's your wonderful world of Johnnie To, and yeah, I absolutely loved watching it again. I believe you did as well.
Yeah, I did.
So what are your takeaways? I think the audience know a little bit of my thoughts already originally from my original review. What did you get out of this, and what is your experience with Johnnie To beforehand?
Well, with Johnnie To, I've seen most of his like heroic bloodshed stuff. So you're looking at like Exiled. I haven't seen The Mission yet, but I've seen Vengeance. I've seen PTU,
Mad Detective, election
well.
movies we've watched.
Yeah, seen the election. So I've seen quite a good chunk, and obviously the through line with him is all about like brotherhood and loyalty in regards to crime as well, and kind of capturing Hong Kong in a way that's not. I think not what we're used to, especially with kind of Hong Kong cinema, especially with kind of Hong Kong action. He's very much more focused on like being an actual filmmaker. The way he shoots stuff, the framing and the blocking is just, when you're used to seeing like traditional Hong Kong stuff that's all about focusing and capturing action, and you're used to that cinematography all the time, Johnnie To just comes off like a breath of fresh air, especially when you see something like Throwdown. Because again, it's you go in thinking you're getting a certain genre type, and then he has this...
He's always going against it, yeah. He's always challenging what the traditional norms of Hong Kong film is. And one thing you always say, like, I made my videos of Johnnie To, and the reason why I love this director so much, we both do, is because he's such a master at storytelling characters, rich characters, which I always say is very important. You know, you can have some of the best visuals of the world, some of the best action in the world, but if you don't invest in these characters in this world... And as we've discussed a few times in ourselves, with the Hong Kong city as well is also a character. It's also, especially within Sparrow, even more so with this kind of, you know, caper throwback to kind of French New Wave and those kind of old school kind of movies. And this one, the character and the silence of the film, as we've discussed off camera, is, you know, the film is very quiet. It's all visually told, and the fact you can have a master like Johnnie To, for most good portion of opening of that film, is dialogue free. It's just his characters, you understand what they're doing, what their actions. The visual language is so apparent, and he's always experimenting that with his more traditional kind of, you know, triad based films, you know, and how he wants to kind of shoot certain kind of angles and how he wants to have character expressions. And this one, it's even more to that, you know, but without doing the more relying on the action, relying on the violence or the kind of gunplay. But he's doing something a little different this time around, and it's it's always quite exciting when you go into a Johnnie To film when you're not too sure what you're going to get. And
yeah, that's for sure with this, because normally he's always doing kind of very high stakes, high drama kind of films. So
yes, definitely.
it's about corrupt cops or about elections within triad kind of criminal underworlds. With this film, it's just about a bunch of pickpockets. It's this traditional kind of style about a bunch of friends with Simon Yam, isn't it?
Simon Yam is actually Simon Yam actually being a nice character for once, which is
he's always charming, even when he plays a hero. But in this one, it's just charm all the way through.
Yeah, and you know you've seen him go to the extremes with these previous films, like Exiled, and especially with Election, and I mean outside of Johnnie To, he's always playing various types of characters. But in this one, a generally quite nice character, someone who's quite wholesome, and he's the leader of this little group, this little front man, the front pocket guy. And
there's no point where those characters kind of turn into traditional Johnnie To. I mean, he has his bunch of friends that he does in a lot of his films, and about friendship and loyalty and those things popping up in the film, but they don't ever turn into those characters that you've seen in the previous ones. They have the same loyalties, they have the same kind of basic character sets. They're always great friends. They feel like they've been friends since childhood. They feel like characters from a heroic bloodshed film, like something out of like John Woo's Bullet in the Head, but they don't have that traumatic Vietnam experience at the end. They break up. They don't have this heaping tragedy throughout it. They stay friends the whole time.
Even on this journey within the film, when this Kay Lynn's character comes into it, where we don't know who this person is, but as something explored in the extras and the edition, this is very starts as a very femme fatale. You don't know who this character is. She's infiltrating herself into these characters' life, this very strong net of brotherhood characters that we've established at the start of the film. And, you know, she's kind of playing them a little bit, you know, playing their own game, like stealing their watch, or, you know, giving them the number, or putting them in a kind of a vulnerable situation. And, you know, that loyalty is not like, oh, they're all going against each other for this woman. They're just been screwed over by this person. They're trying to figure out why. And it's a very nice, wholesome kind of friendship group. And again, one of the things that I like about this film, for myself anyway, in terms of Sparrow, is that they have no real stake in the film in the sense they can walk away at any point. They've got cons. They've got you know, told basically, I've brought you all here essentially to, I'm in a situation. I need your help. You are pickpocketers. I need something specific. And, you know, you guys can do that. And they could easily just walk away. They don't have to, they have no skin in the game. There's no financial reward. There's nothing for them to get. You know, there is a kind of a connection there in the sense.
Yeah, I think they feel not indebted to her, but they all have their individual experience with her prior. And they all, because it's kind of very montage at the beginning. You have a bunch of pickpockets doing their usual, and then they all have these individual experiences with this femme fatale character, very flirty, very sensual, very personal, shot very much like a French advert. Like, it's so intimate that you wouldn't be surprised if they're about to sell you a cologne because of just how close this is. But it's all done through visual storytelling. You know how characters feel by the emotions on their faces, by the way they stare at people, this view of longing. Like, the character doesn't tell you, oh, I've waited for this person my entire life. It's in a glance.
You can just feel it. And with the performances. And as I said to you, like, you know, it's facial expressions, body language, the eyes, how the film is framed. The music scoring is absolutely fantastic. It's very jazzy.
Very piano. The first bit, but then it does get a bit more traditional.
It mixes in some of the traditional Hong Kong stuff, but just the world that these characters are living in, the apartments, you know, all the colours, and this, again, I like this through line that we're seeing throughout this film about the Sparrow, about this idea of being free, you know, and having choice. And, you know, with the opening of the film, having the Sparrow come into the apartment and then coming back out of choice. And, you know, that's a symbolic nature for what's happening with this character, this kind of femme fatale character that we get to know throughout the film. And it just goes, from that point onwards, it just keeps on getting better and better. And it has a good sense of escalation, but without being like, again, gun happy.
It's light and breezy all the way through, and even when there are acts of violence, they're very minuscule because it doesn't want to get in the way of having this fun film about a bunch of very skilled people in it for the sake of it. And I think, as mentioned before, with why they do it, not because they feel indebted.
It comes to this honour of honour, as we talked about before, and this is what the film tries to go for. This because even like Simon Yam's character, again, as I said, he has no real skin in the game. He's been conned, been duped a little bit. You know, they've tried to help. It didn't go quite well in the film. And he only comes back because he's been called out, essentially. You know, it shows this person, this sort of the villain of the piece, as I guess you would say, is kind of, you know, out them, you know, into the public, you know, put posters up, show them for basically being second-rate, air quote kind of thing.
Yeah,
and that hits a nerve a little bit.
The minute they're called into question, because they do try and help out this woman early on, but they end up failing. But they only go back and challenge him finally once they're once Simon Yann's called out by this old. He's more like an old guard. He's the old school. He's probably been at this. You can infer by the way he talks and the way
his skill set is a little bit. So he's been a pickpocketer,
because he's just as good as them.
Yeah, absolutely. He's obviously got to a level where he can be wealthy and comfortable, and you know, he's obviously laughing at them, kind of thing. You know, he's saying, basically stay in your lane. And here's the passport. You know, you've got so many hours to basically keep hold of it, and I'm going to take it from you. And if you can keep hold of it, she can go. If not, then she has to stay until, unfortunately,
nice little third act challenge. Yeah, I think the thing is, even though it's very low stakes, it's still in the service of helping that person, because they've all had such individual experiences with her. They do feel a desire to help her regardless, even though they're using their traditional skills, and obviously technically again they have no reason to really help this person. They do it because they are good-natured by heart, but also I think because deep down they wanted to, because they felt all of them felt something there. They know that she's special, which is why it's
I think there is a connection there, because obviously these characters, just like the bird and like the sparrow, they've been being pickpocketed. A sparrow means pickpocket, and in Hong Kong they are free themselves. They don't have traditional jobs. Obviously they are low-level criminals that are stealing from foreigners and just making enough cash. They're not going after like big players like Ocean's 11.
Well, they're going into like wealthy places and stealing watches and
they have enough to kind of maintain their kind of level of comfort, I suppose. You know, and they are again kindred spirits, very friendship group based, and they probably see something in her. Like, you know, they can't just simply walk away. It's an honour, but also a case of there is something that we do feel like at least obligated to try and help her at least with, and it comes. And by the end of the third act, it actually comes quite nice. It's very wholesome at the end, and you know,
you're not getting the traditional Johnnie To going out with a bang, because even his darkest endings, obviously Election 1 and 2 are a different story, but say like Exiled. The ending of that is quite tragic and sad, but because it's a film about friends coming together and honouring and being loyal friends, it still has like a bittersweet ending to it, because it's not like a horrifically bleak ending like something like Election. Here, it's not even that. It's just nice, and not. I think nice is probably too simple of a word. It's a very
it's very satisfying.
Very satisfying.
Satisfying. Nice is a good word. Wholesome. Just, you know, it feels complete. It's a nice, camper, fun little film. It's a very breezy film, very easy film to watch.
The video essay on that says that it could have been easily seen as a minor work of his.
Yes,
but it's all of Johnnie To's best attributes. Great story, great characters, and is just beautiful all the way through. And you can't come away from it and not fall in love with it.
Absolutely. So it's a definite recommendation for me, as we mentioned on a previous review. But it's really fantastic watching this film again on the Chameleon release. Love this film on the second viewing even more than the first time around, and absolutely recommend checking this one, guys. You know me, if I like great characters, I like great story, and you know, anything else on top of that is just adds more value to what the film's trying to offer going forward. So yeah, definitely recommendation for Sparrow, and definitely recommend picking that one edition up for you guys as well. Absolutely. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed my review of my buddy Alex and his thoughts and opinions on the film as well, alongside my kind of recaptured opinions on the film, and kind of, you know, more confirmation on the second viewing, or more appreciation on the second viewing, watching it again. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing, diving into some of the extras and the edition itself. Please go and support Chameleon Films and tell them Andrew sent you. So in time, guys, Amphlett Reviews, signing out.